mystery and horror, the air itself is filled with monsters.
Children of the night, what music they make. He's alive! He's alive!
Well, hello, all you monster fiends, and thank you for joining us for another deep dive, factoid-filled episode exploring Hollywood's most famous monsters. I am your mistress of ceremonies, Sam, and I'm joined, as always, by Dan from Bleeding Marvelous. Say hello, Dan.
Hello, Dan.
Well, aren't you people just the luckiest people in the world, given that we were here Friday and we are back again on Monday?
And you were here Saturday for an all-day, 24-hour, non-stop.
That's
Are
happened.
you tired, Sammy? Are you tired?
I'm always fucking tired. So there's never a time I'm not tired. Yes, that's happened, hasn't it? Wow,
Yes.
we made it. Woo!
It's happened.
I probably will be in bed when this is airing because of that. But yes, the 24-hour live stream will be happening on Saturday going into Sunday. It is going to be a lot of fun. But for right now, we bring you one little ditty that we thought would be fun as part of the Halloween season. Can you guess what it is? I bet people are going to think it's Wednesday.
Yeah, well, that's the only hand I had, so they'll have to like it.
We are not doing Wednesday. We are covering probably the movie that got me into Rob Zombie. Yes, we are doing Idle Hands.
Yeah.
So I'll get the disclaimer out the way with, and then we'll get into it because this movie is a lot of fun. So we're going to have a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yay.
Yay! So, everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us in the Facebook group, the Discord, or the comment section where we can have an open discussion. What we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong. We can all agree to disagree in fandom. So let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behavior out of nerdism.
Don't be a dick.
As she said. Could just really narrow that down to don't be a dick, but I like it. I remember it. It's something that's etched in my brain forever. So, Idle Hands, the 1999 horror comedy starring Devon Sawyer, Seth Green, Jessica Alba, and Eldon Henson. Along with Vivica A. Fox. Totally forgot that she was in that.
So did I.
So, Idle Hands are the devil's playthings as we bring you Idle Hands. I really want at some point for lightning to go off when I do that. I mean, I'd shit a brick, but that would be pretty cool. Smoke and lightning and ta-ta-ta.
We are coming into winter, so you never know.
I would have kittens, literal kittens, if that happened. But I do like the idea of it. Kind of spooky.
And I would sell this video then to the Daily Mail and make some money off of that if I saw you having kittens.
Sure, they would love that. I'm sure they would absolutely love that. So, Idle Hands. Where do we start with Idle Hands? Actually, it does have a little bit of a connection to Wednesday.
Yes.
In a way. Because the same hand that appears in the Addams Family also is the same hand in Idle Hands.
Imagine being Christopher Hart and being just cast as a hand for everything.
Imagine looking at your bank account and going, I made that because of a hand.
Yeah. I mean, he's a magician by trade. That's his that's his wheelhouse. He's like a proper up-close magician. And I don't even know the story behind how he got cast, but they'd seen him do Addams Family in 91, and now we got 8 years later. So he'd done Addams Family and Addams Family Values at that point, I think. I can't remember when Values came out, but I think it was
around about the same time.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, I do have
late,
the internet here. I could find out, but yeah. I'm
I think
sure
I want to say 95, 96 for the values, but I could be completely off the mark there.
A movie that is totally like as good as the second one. And Values came out in 93.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
That's quite quick. That's quite a quick turnaround. But again, it's a sequel that holds up to the first one.
yeah, I mean, I know Raul Julia died, so that's why obviously they didn't make any more, did they? But I mean, that is my Morticia and my, Gomez. However, I know the original are as well from the TV show. Obviously, Sean Austin's dad.
Yeah.
So
yes, it is. Well, is it his stepdaddy or is it
his stepdad? But his dad, he adopted him. So
yeah. Oh, well, that's cute. But yeah, Idle Hands. Can you remember when it first came out? Because I can and I can't.
I was 19. I was getting drunk. I
was just leaving school.
Yeah, so I mean, it was on my radar, but I don't remember it getting a cinema release.
No, me neither. Nah.
I'm not saying it didn't. I just don't remember. And I was a big cinema goer, from as old as I can remember. So for me to have not seen it at the time makes me think that maybe there wasn't a cinema release at all for it. But I remember the first time I saw it, and I think it was on VHS.
Oh, it was definitely on VHS.
Yeah.
That's how I saw it, was on VHS. Because it had the best cover, from what I remember. And it had Seth Green in, and I had such an obsession with Seth Green at the time. So, like, I was watching that.
I must say that I think out of all the characters in this movie, I relate to Seth Green the most. Not as a stoner, because I can't be asked with all that business.
No, me neither. Never got it. Never got it.
Never understood it. And if that's for you, lovely. You crack on. It's just not for me.
You do but yeah, no, I was the same.
All his humour along the way in this, it's just like, yeah, the white light came out, but it was just too far.
Yeah. We just thought, fuck it.
Too far.
Oh,
and I was just like, I can completely like... that is like how I probably would be. It's too far.
I love his and Nubs. Is it Nub? Am I saying that right?
Nubs, yeah,
Nubs. I love his and Nubs relationship. They are the friend. They are like, I don't understand how they are friends with Devon Sawyer's character, because he's a different level of lazy compared to them two.
Yeah, I mean, Devon Sawa's character is very he's still very teen heartthrob, because at this point, at 99, he was coming off the back of Casper. Obviously, Can I Keep You with Christina Ricci.
No, you fucking can't.
And that's when most girls fell in love with Devon Sawa, was that scene where she dances with him at the end of Casper. And then he just started appearing in things again. Now, obviously, this came before Final Destination, I think. I want to say Final Destination. I should know
this. I've just done an episode on Final Destination.
I'm pretty sure Final Destination was 2000, 2001. But
maybe 2000.
I seem very off my game at the moment with my year guessing. Usually I'm pretty good, but
2000. I shouldn't, honestly. I've literally just done a whole episode about that franchise, and I could only I just compared it to Saw all the way through. They must have gotten sick of us, because I was just like, well, Saw didn't do it this way.
And this is where Devon Sawa cut his foot off. Yes. This is
yeah. Sorry about that.
No.
But yeah, it was 2000. So he did this and then Final Destination. So he's riding high, that like teen heartthrobby kind of horror-ish.
Yeah.
Harry.
He said he basically said that he didn't, because up to that point he'd been in every Teen Beat magazine. He was the front of like every teen girl magazine.
Oh no.
With his curtains, and he said it got to the point where I just wanted to do something that people wouldn't expect, because I was done with that, and I didn't want to be that person anymore, so he did Idle Hands thinking that people wouldn't like him as a stoner. And then when he cut his hair off after Idle Hands to go on to do Final Destination, he didn't realise it would completely changes features.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't look like the same person, even though it was shot within maybe a year. Because I think they finally finished Idle Hands in. It was set for release originally in Halloween in 1998, but because of the reshoots after the screen test they did, it had to be put off till April 99, which was then when coincided with the whole Columbine thing, which happened 10 days before this got released in the theaters in America, and it got hated. It got absolutely hated upon because of that, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, clearly, another terrible teen massacre movie." And it was like, dude, they made this like 12 months before this even happened. How are you expecting them to film, edit, and bang out a movie in 10 days? If they're intentionally going out of their way to do one of those movies.
Yeah, I mean, they got that all fucking wrong when it came down to them too. It had fuck all to do with horror and music. It just came down to two absolute narcissistic fucking. I could go on. I read. I'm just seeing if I can see it. Dave Cullen's book. I think it's what he's called. Sorry if I've gotten the author's name wrong. Brilliant book. Totally, just everything that you think you know about Columbine, you do not. Yeah. You do not at all. It was completely put to rest. I actually have a story that goes with Columbine, because my best friend, who literally just lives there, like my oldest friend in the world, she was on an American exchange right next to the school. She was in the area, and we were getting reports of a school shooting in her area, but we did not know if it was the school she was in or not. So I went to our mum's house and we sat watching the news, watching it all play out, waiting for that fucking phone call. We eventually got it around 10 o'clock. Like, I did not, my mum came down. We because I was quite young at the time. Was I quite young? I'd say so. And yeah, we were just sitting waiting for that phone call, and it wasn't her school. It was the school on the other side. But they did a whole evacuation, which is why she couldn't make phone calls, because they had to be it's like a warning sign, like beacons go off and the schools react, and they all got put into like secured places and then got sent to their parents, and then they got sent home, and it's a whole ordeal, especially when they're trying to deal with what's going on over there, and it took time. But we eventually got a phone call to say she was not at that, but it was fucking terrifying to think she could have been involved in that, especially when that's not our culture.
No, definitely not.
So
it's not for me. No.
Nah, I was always impressed with Devon's willingness to show his actual face, because his skin is not the greatest.
No, and you can tell that now. Like, a lot of people still don't know that Devon Sawa was in the Chucky TV series. They still don't realise that was Devon Sawa, because he looks, his aging has, it's not bad. I think he looks good, but I have grown up with that man's face. So it's like, it's not an issue for me. Casper, when I was 11 or 12, I think Casper came out. Yeah. I ended up actually being Casper at Butlins. I was Casper the Friendly Ghost. You used to get those characters that used to walk around dressed as inside costumes. I was Casper the Friendly Ghost from 2000 to 2002.
Wow.
So
that is crazy.
I think I've just frozen, but
you're back. You're back.
There we go. Yeah, so that was me. That's my connection to Devon Sawa. But
I just always appreciated the fact that he wasn't scared to show his face, because it was like, I didn't suffer from acne like on the face. It was on my front and on my back, where like as a teenage girl, you do not want that to happen. So I always appreciated that. I have an interesting fact about Randy and Tanya. And I really wish I'd followed up on this one, that they didn't know they were half siblings until they were on set.
Yeah.
Now Randy's the kid. Randy's the kid from one of my favorite films, Event Horizon.
Yeah.
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 Just make sure I've got the right person.
they look exactly the same. When you put them in that scene where he's hitting on her. It's really gross now, I know.
Hitting on your sister.
But yeah, when he's hitting on it, obviously nothing happens. They don't kiss or anything like that. He's just being a bit of a
sleazy,
pervy sleazebag, which is what his character is.
I really
yeah,
like his character.
I was like, yeah, you two really do look alike. How the hell did you not know? It's like, I wasn't surprised when they said it. I was like, oh yeah, you can see it. And then I was like, wow, oh dear, yeah, that's unfortunate.
Oh dear. I really like that character. I really like the actor. Actually, he's class. He obviously has the worst death scene in Event Horizon.
That's savage.
Oh, it is brutal. But he's so cool in this film. Like he is the epitome of the starting point of like he's desperate to cling on to the heavy metal and not allow new metal to come in. That's how I see him. Like, I am clinging on to this.
I love the fact that this movie was so 90s because of all the cameos that it had in it. You know, like when you start looking at, okay, yeah, you've got Seth Green, who at 99 was in the midst of Buffy. And you know when Seth was doing this movie because Seth dyes his hair dark and he does about, I want to say, maybe 4 or 5 episodes of Buffy with black hair. And it was because he was filming Idle Hands at the same time. But they managed to get over that because they dye his hair back pretty quickly as soon as he stopped doing Idle Hands. But
he was also doing the Austin Power movies as well. Like, I mean, that's half the reason why, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I still find the Austin Power movies like stupidly funny. Like, I think it's more because it brings back memories of how much I used to crack up laughing at it. I love stupid humor, humor that just doesn't make any fucking sense. And they really hit my funny bone. And I love Seth Green in them, and that's half the reason why I watch them. I went on a huge obsession of Seth Green, even though I was always like, I could never marry him because he is very short, even though his wife, Claire, is a giant. Yes. And it works.
Yes.
They work.
Claire was, there's a story about him and Claire, and Claire knew she wanted to marry Seth from watching him on telly. And Claire's a model, as far as I remember.
She's also a big, massive fucking nerd.
Yes.
She's part of the Unicorn Club.
Right, okay.
I think that's what they were called. There was a group of women who, at the height of women being recognized as nerds, they were like the forefront. They were there in it at the starting point.
Right.
Because she likes tabletop games. She likes D&D. She likes a horror. That's how I know Claire. Well, don't know her, but that's how I associate her with.
The story is she knew she was going to marry Seth. She always said, I want to marry that man. That's that. You know, the similar thing to Jason Momoa with Lisa.
Yeah.
You know, like he grew up and he was like, I'm going to marry her. And he did. Claire, it was exactly the same with Claire. She sought him out. She married him.
Well, I did that with Gary Oldman when I was a kid, but look, I didn't fucking happen. How does this happen? Because it's beautiful, people, and at the minute I look like an absolute fucking tramp. Like I'm sitting, I'm just saying before we came on, I have like a mismatch of shit. I've got this jersey t-shirt on with a friggin' pumpkin cardi because I'm absolutely freezing. With my skeleton joggy bottoms and my fucking spiderweb slippers, and my hair is a mess, and I've been sneezing, so I look like I've been crying. So yeah, that's why I didn't get Gary Oldman because of this.
If he can't appreciate you in your true form, he's just not worth it. He's just not worth it.
Oh, that is a sign of a true friend.
Trust me, I sit around in my lounge pants most of the time. You know, like I've got like Munsters ones, Creep Show ones. Yeah, quick big up to old fright rags for those, and like and an oversized t-shirt most of the time. You know. No makeup, hair scraped back. You know, that is my normal life. This is Dan's been at work all day, touched up her makeup, stuck a bit of dry shampoo in her hair. And
at least Dan made an effort. I literally came in from work and went, "Yep, this will do." this is the movie I was saying at the beginning that got me into Rob Zombie. Not gonna lie, like I think this is where I think I knew about him, but this is like where I think I found him.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I remember the Dracula song being played on it, and I was fucking obsessed. Like absolutely obsessed. I have had the pleasure of seeing Mr. Zombie live at Newcastle, and it was very cathartic, and it was very, I just felt like I was home. There was these people, like this guy on stage who loved B movies and monster movies as much as I did, and I was like, oh, it's amazing. It was, and he also, my friend who I was with, he was walking through the crowd, and he kind of like moved her out the way to get past, and then he just kind of like shook my hand, and I was like, thanks. Like, I don't go out of my way to like touch people. Like that is just not me. If I saw like the likes of him walking, I would like walk away. I am too nervous for that shit. Like, but yeah, he kind of like stuck his hand out. I was like, thank you, Mr. Zombie.
Because obviously the other big cameo by a music band was Offspring.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'd loved the Offspring for a while at that point. I mean, I still have a thing where I think The Kids Aren't All Right sounds very, very much like the opening of Buffy. When you listen to the beginning of that song,
it does,
and the Buffy theme tune, I still have this thing where they sound so similar. It's like, because it's of the time, it's that type of guitar. You know, Nerf Herder obviously did the Buffy theme tune, but there's something about that guitar noise, and it was all very 90s, and I've loved the Offspring for years. And the fact that someone like Dexter Holland agreed, and the man, people really underestimate Dexter Holland and how intelligent he is. He's got a PhD in molecular biology.
Can't even spell I can't even fucking say it. Never mind spell it.
Plus, I think he's either just hit 60, Dexter Holland, or he's just about to hit 60.
Spotify keeps me up to date with like, I don't know why, but it tells me that gigs are playing and birthdays are coming up to celebrate. Listen to that, and I'm sure I got one recently to say that he was 60, which means that he's the same age as my father and my mother. Oh my great. But they wore AFI t-shirts in the movie, and it was which I thought, it's like my emo heart right there. I loved AFI. I absolutely adored that hair, them trousers, that whole aesthetic. I was living for it. And now Miss Murder is playing in my head as I talk about them. So they were promoting AFI at the time, because I think they're on their record label.
Nitro, yeah. That was Dexter's label, yeah.
Yeah. I do love the fact that Dexter was like willing enough to be scalped, basically.
I liked it because he was just like, hey, go on then. You know, he was like, I don't care what I look like, just crack on with it. And they
really order me up.
But they only did the take once as
well. That was the funniest thing I will say all night.
You see his like forehead stretch, right? And I've seen that in slow-mo on some of the YouTube videos I've watched, because they all find it really funny. Where the practical effects, where the Christopher puts his hand on his head, and as he's pulling up to rip the scalp off of Dexter, you see Dexter's eyeballs go with the whole scalp as well, because it's like he hasn't quite fathomed how to separate, like it's pulling his hair out or it's pulling at his skin or something at the same time, and he just looks really surprised as it's coming off. And it's quite funny watching it in slow-mo.
Look like me when I used to draw my eyebrows on. The songs that they play actually are in reference to, it's kind of like foreshadowing. They do Sedated by I Want to Be Sedated by the Ramones and Beheaded. So kind of a little bit of a foreshadowing.
Yeah.
I love their version of Sedated though.
Did you know there was a cameo from a certain, now there's debate in the UK. I know it's one way you say it, but in the UK, to my knowledge, the majority of people I speak to, I've had this debate on the page before, and the majority were with how I think it's said. I've always said Blink 182, right? But I know there's the people that say Blink 182, because Blink 182 is the way that it's supposed to be said, and the American way of saying it. But I've always said Blink 182.
Hang on.
It is a Mandela effect thing, you know.
I say Blink 182.
Yeah.
There you go. I do. I say Blink 1. No, I don't. That is such bullshit. I say Blink 182. I know I do. I know I do. But Blink 182 does sound. I've seen them too. Oh, I could do a whole.
Questioning like yourself about that, how you call them. But Tom DeLonge is actually in this movie.
Is he? Is he really? Where?
He's in it for, I want to say, maybe 5 to 10 seconds. At the Jungle Burger, you know, where Devon is talking to Randy, and he's trying to keep his hand still, and like Randy's giving him the speech about idle hands and all that. He pushes one of the guys or the servers out the way as he's going past, and it's actually Tom DeLonge.
Oh my god! I'm now gonna not be able to see that when I go back and watch Idle Hands, because I at least watch this film guaranteed once a year, because of just how much fun it is. It's like when I watch Queen of the Damned. I'm a huge Murder fan. Like, I still listen to them today, even though they have not produced music and never will do again in a very long time. But I still listen to them. And every time I watch Queen of the Damned, I'm like, oh my god, it's Eric. He's like literally in it for a second, like in millisecond. But I cannot not unsee that now. Yeah. And I'll do the same with this one. I didn't know that. Yeah. I didn't know that. What was I going to say? There was something I was going to say. The opening scene with his parents is, I fucking love it. I can't. Who's his dad again? It's Wilfred. Oh, he died last year. Was it last year?
He's the comedy dad, isn't he? The comedy.
Yeah, he was in Modern Family.
Willard.
I'm gonna find out, because he is worthy of talking about because of how great he is. Fred Willard. Oh, Mr. Tobias. He played Mr. Tobias. I love that man so much. You could tell he was very poorly, and I think it wasn't on Fallon. It was the other guy, Jimmy Kimmel. I think it was on Kimmel, where he was doing sketches for them. And it's like he was very old and he looked very frail, but fuck me, can he still hit the comedy notes. He was so funny, and he's the comedy dad. And I was gutted when he died, but I do love their opening scene. It really sets everything up. He
played that so straight, though. You know, like when you're used to seeing a certain person play comedy, it's like when Robin Williams first played when he did The Fisher King. It was a straight movie. It was like, woo, this is something, isn't it?
This is different.
When you're conditioned to certain actors playing certain roles, maybe not so typecast, but with Fred Willard, it is very much that case that everything he's ever been in, he's been the funny guy. And even in this, he wasn't. He was like the downtrodden husband, you know, that had to put up with her shit because she's just decorated for Halloween, and then she wanted to make a cornucopia. And he's like, what the hell is one of those? And she's like, oh, it's a big, you know, and he's like, for Christ's sake, we can't even think about Christmas yet. We haven't got Halloween out of the way. And she's like, I
love the word cornucopia because it always reminds us of the Hunger Games.
I'm sure that's what they called. Oh, I'm sure
it is. It's like I think the definition of it is like circular thing with something in the middle. That's how because that's what it is in the Hunger Games. It's a circular thing with something in the middle.
It was like,
I've just looked at the list because to get his name. Fucking Tom DeLonge is credited in this movie.
But also a weird one who is credited, which I found strange because there is absolutely no proof of this happening. I don't actually know. I tell a lie. It's not credited, but it's everywhere I read about.
I think I know who you're going to say.
Yeah. Apparently it's bullshit.
Kyle Gass.
No.
I've got Kyle Gass. Yeah, Kyle Gass is credited as another Burger King, like the Jungle. He's in that scene.
I'm going to have to go back and watch that now. I didn't know that.
No, me neither. Why can't I find my back button on here? This is ridiculous. Kyle Gass is credited as being alongside Tom DeLonge.
Well, that's a weird combo, is it not?
That is very strange. Also, you know what song I've got in my head now? Out of control. And I got sick of it the other day because I couldn't stop singing it.
Brilliant.
Kick your
the
fucking ass.
and you know his name is Kyle Gass.
Oh, don't.
No, I was going to say Robert England because
What?
everything I read said that Robert England was the voice of the hand. When did the hand speak?
He didn't have. Oh, well, he did do kind of a few noises in the microwave, and when he dies, it's like
But I couldn't find like everybody all these like top 10 this facts about this, and like I'm going along, and the majority of them had Robert England played the hand. But then I watched the Dead Meat, the kill count on this, and he was like, he vehemently denies he ever did the voice for this. So where that rumor came from, I don't know. So
wow, I nearly let it slip. Everyone has seen the episode now and know that our poor Claude Rains is no longer the reigning champ of kill counts, and I nearly let it slip on the previous Sunday episode. I was like, you're gonna have to watch it. Because there's a moment because we were talking about kill counts of Final Destination, because it was just out of interest, and I went, won't be as big as, I can't say that. I can't say that. No, that hasn't happened yet. That doesn't happen yet. That's not even happened. Nope. Claude Rains still reigning champ. Ding,
in
ding.
the future.
Yeah, all in the future. Yeah, I didn't know about Kyle Gass, but I always forget that Vivica A. Fox is in this movie. And I fucking love her. Kill Bill is secretly one of my favorites. I fucking love them movies. And if I get in the Tarantino mood, it's where I start from. And I love her character in that. And to be honest, it's very the same to what she plays in this.
But you see, I know her mainly from Independence Day.
Yeah.
The stripper mum. She was
the stripper mum.
She was that character. That's how I know her, because I remember going to see Independence Day in the cinema, and my cousin was sat next to me, and you know the bit where the alien comes to he pops Brent Spiner slap on the thing. My cousin had popcorn. Woof, went everywhere. Oh. She literally decorated the row in front and behind with popcorn.
Amazing. I would not be angry if someone did that, mind. I would be like, yes, get in.
Free popcorn.
I remember not going to see Independence Day at the cinema, but it being on Christmas Eve. And it being a Christmas Eve movie for a couple of years in a row, and I was like, why?
It's a choice.
Why? Why would Independence Day, of all movies, be a 24th of December movie? I don't get it, but I do like it. But I always, again, until you've said it there, totally forgot she was in that too. Yeah. And she is a brilliant actress. Like, she very much camps it up in this.
I found a quote by Seth Green about this movie, and it kind of sums up everything about the film as it goes along. And the quote is that the best thing about that movie was that everybody working on it had a different mission statement. We all thought we were making a different movie. Me and the boys, Devon and Eldon, were convinced we were making a high drama with some comedic elements. And we tried to make our relationship as lifelong best friends believable. The director, Rodman, was attempting to make a throwback Italian horror film like a Dario Argento flick. The writers really wanted it to be Heathers, and the studio was listening to the test marketing and saying that they really wanted the zombies to be cuter and have more wacky antics, and apparently all the kids in the audience thought there should be more pot smoking. That pot should have saved the day, and somehow Jessica Alba needed to get her top ripped off, and that's how the whole new ending got shot, where she's shot up on the car lift and gets her midsection ripped off, and the pot saves the day. And we build a giant bong out of a carburetor. But he was basically saying that everybody that was on the film didn't have any direction, in the sense of that
we don't know
the movie they were making was totally different. Everybody just Vivica and Randy and Randy had their idea of, they were doing the campy camp side of it, we must kill the hand, the crazed people. Then you had the three lads that were best buddies, that were trying to make sure they looked like best buddies. Jessica Alba was trying to make it. I hated her character.
Yeah.
Because they made her so overly sexualized, and it was just like, calm your tits, love. I'm all up for sexual positivity and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, like you do you, but they overhyped it for no reason, and they didn't need to, because she could do that very much on her own by just being her. There is so many scenes in this though that make that this movie is chopped and cut to pieces.
Yeah.
And there are scenes in it where there's one where they're outside and they can see Jessica Alba playing a bass guitar in the mirror. But that makes no fucking sense, because the scene that was cut would have explained Jessica Alba's bass guitar playing at that time and what she was playing. So that it's all the way through the movie. It's just cut and chopped to pieces and reshot and deleted scenes. And where's the Idle Hands cut? Where's like the Snyder cut?
Yeah, I know that recently they did a Rooftop Cinema Film Club version. They went out, and Devon and Eldon and Rodman, the director, and Seth basically went to this viewing, and after they'd done it, it was relatively new, so I want to say it was within the last 1 or 2 years, this rooftop thing. They were all saying that Rodman was thinking about writing another one, a part 2, because Devon's always expressed his interest in wanting to do a second one. But I'm not sure. I think some things
are best left on the shelf.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be 24 years later. There's no hiding the fact that Devon Sawa is a dad. You can't.
Let's not put time on it, shall we, Dan? That's depressing. 24 years later.
24 years.
Oh my good God. It doesn't feel. It feels like yesterday that I was introduced to this movie.
I'm going to ask you a question, because I don't remember, and I did refresh my memory and watch this again last night, but I don't remember how his hand became possessed. I just know that it was possessed.
Okay, so yeah, it just happens. There's no significant moment. His hand is just that idol that whatever possessed it, because that is today's monster, by the way, is the possession of the hand. Just happened.
Yeah, it was just that lazy. So the devil just went, "Hello, you'll do."
Is it the devil?
Well,
because when I was thinking of the intro, I'd started off with, and the today's monster, the devil, and blah blah blah, and Idle Hands, and 1999. But then I was like, hang on, is it the devil? Is someone going to come for us and go, it's not the devil? It was, and you weren't paying attention, because apparently that's what I do. Apparently I don't pay attention during movies, because I imagine I let stuff and subplots and subtext go straight out of my head.
Well, I know there was a little section where Vivica went to see a prisoner that had a shriveled hand.
Yeah, because it fucked off. Because it fucked off out of the hand.
So it had left that guy and gone into Devon. I presume that's what had happened, but obviously they didn't.
He's just sitting there, isn't he? And that's when it literally just happens.
Yeah.
Anytime anyone mentions Idle Hands, do you do that? I go get you.
Yeah, but he'd been out cold. He'd been high for 3 days and not realised his parents had been gone for 3 days.
That is the level of laziness the devil is looking for.
Yeah.
Someone who does not give two shits to go and check on their parents to make sure they are actually still living. Like, or even there, he's just acting. I mean, he's just acting like nothing's happened. But I've just remembered how cool is his dog. It's when he pulls him under the blanket with him.
It's when he pushes the dog out in front to make the dog go first. Like stuck his head around the corner.
I've got to say, I was very upset on first viewing when Seth and Nub gets killed. I'm not going to lie, I was very upset. But then to know that they came back and the bottle. Did you do any research on the makeup? I haven't had a chance.
Yeah, guess who it was?
No.
It was.
It wasn't Jack Pierce, that's for sure.
No, it was Greg Cannon.
Really?
From Dracula. Yeah, we talked about all the makeup he did on Dracula. But yeah, it was Greg Cameron, and there's only CGI is only used in the scene where you will only ever see Nubs carrying his head. Other than
I guess
that,
that's just easiness in
well,
respect
yeah, I mean,
to practicality. I get that.
everything else, all practical. Everything.
Yeah, you can
the
tell.
hand in the microwave, the burrito coming out of Nubs's throat, which to this day, it makes me laugh because I'm disgusted. But it's like my initial go-to every time I laugh, and I'm like, "Oh, that is so gross."
It's fucking
It's just,
vile.
but it makes sense, and that's the kind of detail that people don't really pay attention to in horrors. Like,
no, it's true.
That's what he still thinks he's hungry.
Yeah, but he's dead.
He's not
So,
attached to his body.
yeah, and he's dead. So nothing's really working in there.
But they still wanted their burrito.
I mean, I would always want a burrito as well, but I'm just a hungry person. I did always love Seth Green's bottle.
Yeah.
I love for some. I've got to think about certain noises, and the noise of him clanking
when
the
he gets
bottle
stuck in the air con,
I love that noise.
Well,
I could listen to that.
They tried normal bottles, normal, the ones you can buy, normal glass bottles, and they said it protruded too far out, and because obviously Seth being my height, which I can confirm,
it's very diddy.
He is incredibly small, so it didn't sit right because the bottle was coming out like here with a normal neck on it. So they were trying to look for different things to do, and they didn't want to make a bottle, if you know what I mean. They didn't want to have to mold one, shape one, blow one in glass or fake glass or whatever it is they do. So they looked at hotel bottles, and in America, and you get like Snapple and those weird ones that are smaller.
Oh, yeah.
They have the smaller necks, so that's what they used instead of like a normal bottle size, which I thought was pretty cool. But you never see Seth get killed. You see Nubs to a degree, but you don't see Seth. You just hear it.
I love when he runs because he just shuffles. He is the most adorable character in. Yeah, he is the most adorable character in this.
Please don't kill me.
He's just so innocent and sweet, which is why I was always really gutted, because I thought like that was it for them. Yeah. Like I genuinely thought that was it until they were sitting on that chair. I was like, oh, what a twist.
Well, it was the bit where they were talking to him, and like I think it's Seth's hand that comes out of the dirt and grabs him when he's buried them in the back garden. And then he thinks he's had a bad dream because they whack him with a shovel, don't they? And he comes down the stairs and he sees them sat there. And
it's the fact that they'd been watching Dawn of the Dead.
Yes, it was. Yeah,
was it Dawn of the Dead? So like it is quite clever how it is all linked, and it was also filmed on the same street Halloween was filmed on as well. So it kind of has a bit of a Carpenter connection too, kind of keeping with that horror theme.
It's crazy. There's so much. There is so many little, like I say, nods, and I think the thing about the late 90s movies though was the music was such a big factor.
Massively.
The soundtracks in everything in the late 90s was like The Faculty, because you went over it, didn't you? You went over The Faculty recently. The soundtrack on that was one of my favourites. Then obviously Scream 1 and 2 had some really fantastic soundtracks. But
yeah, that's what we were living for. Like the music, it came like nowadays. Are people really going to watch these movies for the soundtrack? Because essentially that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
We were looking for the soundtrack in like I don't know how to explain it, because it was a big major part of movie experience was the soundtrack.
Going out and buying it after you've seen the film. I mean, I'm a vinyl collector. I've got a lot of original vinyls, but only soundtracks of movies. That's all I collect. So
if I started, I wouldn't stop.
I'm very selective. I'm not like, I'm one of these people who, I'm not like a perfectionist or anything like that, but I've really got to have liked the film to have wanted to bought the soundtrack, if that makes sense. But Idle Hands, it just had so many on there, you know, of the time musicians, which, let's have a look. Oh, Rob Zombie, still out singing now. Blink 182, just got back together, still out singing now. Bloody Offspring on a reunion tour, out still doing it now. And it's like 24 years ago, these bands were big, and they're still big now. Which
it's crazy. It's crazy to me that, and especially when I'm watching TikTok these days, all these younger emos, and I'm like, dude, no, you're making us feel like my mum feels when I was like I like Simon and Garfunkel now, and no, this is not fair.
You're classed as elder emo. I think it's classed as elder emos, isn't it?
I don't know where I fall within the music genre of when I was growing up, because I was full on goth from the age of 15, metalhead. Like, metal's always been me thing. Like, Metallica is my favorite band of all time, so metal's always been me thing. Then black metal, and then I went through me punk phase, then I went through me emo phase, then I went back to metal. And I'm like, I don't know where I felt. Like, I have followed and been in a part of all these little niches and of music, and I listen to Dolly Parton.
Yeah,
now.
See, I'm very much the same. I appreciate most music. It doesn't matter.
It took a long time to step away from that, though, to be able to to say to myself, it's okay if you want to listen to some Nicki Minaj, you're allowed to do that. Yeah. And I do. I've got a fair few songs of Nicki Minaj I really like. But yeah, it took us a long time to be like, it's okay, you're allowed to listen to other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky. I was brought up in a household where my parents at the time had totally different polar opposite tastes.
Yeah,
so
I did.
We had my dad ZZ Top, bloody Dire Straits, you know, all that side of it, and then we had my mum who was Motown. She was any kind of soul. I was brought up with that, so you know, I had both those. And then when we went to my nan and granddad's, my granddad was obsessed with big band music, so I had lots of like Glenn Miller and stuff like that. So, and he always used to sit down and we used to play records, and used to go through his record collection because my aunties used to leave all their records there. So I had such a huge knowledge of music growing up that kids didn't understand me when I used to sort of say, "Oh, have you heard this song?" And they'd be like, "Oh, it's really square. You're such a nerd."
I got the same. My parents, like my dad, like my love of punk comes from my dad. Dad loved the Dropkick Murphys. It got us into the Pistols. But he wasn't like a huge punk fan. He just liked them, and that's where I kind of found them. My mum, she liked a rock like AC/DC. Thin Lizzy and Zeppelin. So there was that. But then what I remember and what my core memories are, and my sisters, is listening to Simon and Garfunkel, which did not fucking appreciate at the time. Absolutely can't. On every playlist I have, there's at least one Simon and Garfunkel song on there.
The Boxer. That is one of my favourite Simon and Garfunkel's. The Boxer and Strawberry Fair. Scarborough Fair, sorry.
I love Cecilia. And I love Sound of what's it? The one that's
Silence.
Sound of Silence. I love that. But yeah, I didn't appreciate it growing up. I do now. Thank you, mother. But yeah, George Michael, Soul to Soul. A lot of Phil Collins. I loved Phil Collins.
Wheeler, wasn't it? Soul. Yeah.
Back to life. Yeah, that's what I used to listen to growing up. But music was like, it was a big part of our lives because we were always doing something, so we were always in the car. So like music was, but then I went through the boy band thing, you know. I did 17. That. Fuck that. No. No. My sister is a dick, right? Because I was like, take that. Michaela's like, well, fuck that. I'm gonna go E17. I'm like, Backstreet Boys. She's like, you can go and fuck off and all because I'm going NSYNC. Yeah.
No, honestly, my sister was obsessed with Take That. I liked Take That when they came out and that, but my sister was absolutely enamored with Take That, and she went to see them a couple of times. And then it was Boyzone for my sister. She was absolutely in love with Stephen Gately. And she was like obsessed. I even bought her tickets in the I think it was about, I want to say maybe 6 or 8 years ago. They did a reunion tour, Boyzone, and they did the O2, so I bought her like 4th row tickets and took her to see Boyzone. And I have to say, as adults, I now appreciate looking at people like Keith Duffy and Shane Lynch. Back in the day, not so much, but as an adult with adult eyes, looking at adult men, it's like,
I did that. I went to see New Kids on the Block a few years ago. It was fucking brilliant. Didn't even fill the arena at all, but I swear to God, I had the best time. It was just so much fun.
I didn't even know they were touring. See, I would have loved to have gone and seen them. I was obsessed with Joey. Which now scares the life out of me. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Oh yeah, looking at them, you're like, wow, you are 50-year-old men trying to dance like you are 20. That doesn't work. But she even managed to do it when I got into the harder music. I was a huge fan, and I don't hate to admit it. I love this fucking stage of my life. I was a huge Limp Bizkit fan, like fucking huge. Michaela, no, I see your Limp Bizkit and I'll raise you Korn. I am a huge Korn fan. And it was like, fuck you. We went through this to and fro and all the time. And I didn't even realize it until I was looking back thinking, yeah, we always did the opposite kind of thing. Always. Michaela then took like a huge dive and went into the hymn realm and Switchblade Symphony. And I was like, nah, fuck that. Even though I did take her to go and see him in Glasgow. Because we went to go and we were going to get the best of both worlds. We were meant to see Ozzy Osbourne. And him was supporting.
Yeah.
So I would get to see Ozzy and Michaela would get to see him, and he cancelled. So I ended up feeling really sorry for her and buying her tickets to go and see them in Glasgow. That was a night. that happened. But going back to soundtracks, I'm just having a look to see if I can find the soundtrack to this, because it wasn't just Rob Zombie and it was more people. I tell you what I did find though, which I've been giggling at while it's been on my screen. The fuck it, it's too far.
Yeah.
When he go, and I've got the whole thing here. I didn't kill anyone on purpose, okay? Yeah, well, we weren't in hell. I mean, there was a bright white light at the end of a long tunnel, right? And there was these chicks' voices, and then this music, yeah, kind of cool music, like Enya. And these chicks' voices, and they were saying, come to us, come towards the light. So what happened? We figured, fuck it. I mean, it was really far.
Hence why it would be me. I'd be like, yeah. No.
I just you could picture that scene.
No. Would 100% be me.
You killed me. Now let's try and keep things in perspective here. Some of the quotes on this are absolutely fantastic. Like, it is a very quotable music. Quotable.
Oh god, yeah. But in saying that about quotes, did you know Seth Green was responsible for the quote "cha-ching"? You know how everybody goes around going "cha-ching, cha-ching." You know, or not they don't go around doing it now, but you know what I mean. It's a well-known thing that if someone says, "Oh, I got some money," someone goes, "Oh yeah, cha-ching."
Yeah,
you always get someone. Yeah, it was Seth Green. He was in an advert when he was younger, in the early 80s. He was playing like a server in a restaurant, and I think he was on like a drive-through. And he says the words "cha-ching," and it's the first time that phrase was ever coined. And
thank you, Seth Green. Do I need to pay him money now to like use it?
Well, he's a clever man. He's another one like Dexter Holland, because he's into his space. Seth, he loves space. So NASA recently let him do some stuff. And I was like, holy shit, I didn't know that. But
yeah, NASA will let anyone do anything if you give them the money.
He developed a patch for the research missions for the International Space Station that helps enhance life on Earth, because he's so intelligent, Seth Green, that he graduated early from school, because their system is very weird to me. Like in the UK, you go through years at school, unless there are special circumstances, like exceptional circumstances, and you do every year is full of the kids of that year, and it doesn't matter if you fail that year or not, you still progress on to the second year.
Yeah, watch Harry Potter. Year. That gives you a good idea of our schooling system.
Yeah, you don't get held back. There's none of that. You progress through your years, and then you're kicked out when you're 16. You either get the choice to go to college, or once you've completed your college, you then go to uni.
University.
And that's it. That's our system.
Yeah.
But yeah, he graduated at 16, so he fast-tracked years at school, and he went on and did his...
Why couldn't we do that? I'd be super fucker into... I would read if that was the case.
I would have been a really clever kid just to get the hell out of school.
Just to get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
But no. I guess that's the upside of the fact that we know we are leaving school at 16. 15 if you mean, because I was the youngest in the class. But yes, you are guaranteed you are going to leave school. They don't leave until like 18 or something.
Yeah, it's like that. I don't understand the grading system either, because in the UK we have years 1 to 11. And that's your school years. So when you finish year 11, you're 16. But you have grade 12, grade 11. I don't get the grading systems because they're only in high school for 3 years, I think.
What?
Like from, I think it's 15, 16 to 18, they're actually in high school. And this is where I get very confused, because I don't understand. You don't need that many schools, surely. Are you in junior high for like 5 years? How long are you in junior high for? I mean...
What's that? Is that our equivalent to primary school?
I think it's our equivalent of, juniors, because you go... As I grew up, we had nursery, infants, juniors, seniors.
Yeah, me too.
So that was it. Not all kids go to nursery, because it's not necessarily
I did.
a thing. I did, but it wasn't necessarily a requirement nursery.
No, it's not. It was either a morning or afternoon. I used to work. I worked in the nursery that I went to, and it was morning or afternoons. Yeah, morning slot or afternoon slot. I think it was an afternoon.
So I think that the way they split it is very alien to me. So I can't fathom. I think basically he'd finished his entire adult schooling in junior high, hence why he's incredibly intelligent. But yeah, he then decided he didn't want to apply all of his intelligence because he wanted to be in movies.
Well, thank God he did, because he's done some freaking amazing. Like, come on, one of his first is It. Like, what a thing to be fucking remembered for. Like, even if you do nothing else, you are still a Richie Tozer in the original It, which people, I know I don't hear a lot of people shitting on the new ones. That I'm either not looking for it or I don't care. But he will always be the original Richie Tozer. Always.
Beep, beep, Richie.
Yep. So I've got the list of the songs.
All right,
and holy shit, right? You've got Peppy Rock by BTK. You got Bloodcut by Tim Armstrong and Rancid. Like, if that's not a fucking soundtrack to my teens or late teens, early 20s. You've got Shout at the Devil by Motley Crue. You got Santorini. I don't practice Santeria by Sublime. Core in Time by David Garza. Not too sure on that. I Am a Pig by Rob Halford and John Five.
Rob Halford.
Yeah.
Judas Priest, right?
Judas Priest.
Yeah.
Pop That Coochie.
That was the one that they got obsessed with when they went running in, and they didn't see Mum and Dad dead on the floor. They went straight to the TV, and then they were both doing a little dance to it, weren't they? That's
how English am I when I said that?
Pop That Coochie.
Pop That Coochie. Obviously, Dracula. How Do You Feel by Vanessa Doe? Don't know that one. Rude Boy Rock by Lion Rock. Glow in the Dark by David Garza again. Mind Trip, New York. I'm back in a New York groove. That's on Answer playlist. I Want to Be Sedated, Beheaded, Kaylin, and Push It, which is by Wayne Static. It's Static X.
Static X, yeah.
Static X. I always forget that band exists. And once I remember, I then have to remember that Wayne Static's dead.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like I go through that oh no moment every time I think about it.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because music is timeless, as are movies. So I mean, whilst they age, they're still there forever.
Yeah.
And so you don't always remember that these people are no longer around.
Oh, I do.
So
I do. My sister presented a TikTok to me the other day, and it's a boy who goes, "So you've got this autistic brother. Is he really good at maths?" "No, this is what he's really good at." And he shouts over at his brother, and he's like, "So, like, Stephen, when did Christopher Lee die? Stephen, when did?" And this guy's like ripping out these dates, and I'm like, "Oh shit, it's me." I can't tell you the dates or the years, but I will tell you if a person's dead or not.
Dead.
They're dead. Yeah.
Dead.
I like to point it out. It's one of my annoying traits is, yeah, they're dead.
Brilliant.
Have you got any more on Idle Hands?
Yes, tying into I know Dawson's Creek has come up a couple of times for us in a few
the Dawson.
in a few of our podcasts now. I don't know if they've gone out yet or they're yet to come out. I'm completely lost.
Monday. No, it's already out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I messaged Paul afterwards and went, I didn't realize how much I knew on the Dawson.
Yeah.
I really didn't.
But there's an episode of Dawson's Creek where the Idle Hands poster is in the background on the wall.
Really?
And I was just like, you can't write that. Dawson's Creek has come up a couple of times recently, and it's just like, and it's up again now. Here we are.
Here we are with the Dawson. Yeah, my knowledge on that is ridiculous, and I'm sure it's in the Jason episode, but why? I can't remember.
Oh, you were talking about the bird on the bridge, yeah.
Jason versus Freddy. Yes, the main girl in it who was in the Dawson. Now I can't remember anything.
Yeah.
But I was very passionate about it.
Incredibly, yeah. So I just thought that was like a weird kind of bit of hark back kind of weirdness that came up when it said Dawson's Creek. I went, are you kidding? Is everything now going to relate to Dawson's Creek?
Are we going to have a running theme? So we've had these running themes with, Boris Karloff being cast in everything, and Jack Pierce's makeup abilities, and Claude Rains, our Lord and Savior Claude Rains. But yeah, is Dawson the Dawson? Me and Anth call it the Dawson.
The Dawson connection, yeah.
The Dawson connection. Can we do a Dawson connection in our episodes?
We will see.
Oh, I'm going to give it a try.
I know that the budget for this movie was 25 million.
And that's a lot of coin.
For 1999, that was a lot. But because of the whole issue with the Columbine thing, not that I'm minimising it in any way, but
no, God, no, absolutely not. But I know what you mean.
And the fact that The Matrix came out the same weekend.
Whoa.
It hit number 6 in its first week, and then it died.
Oh, what have you come up against The Matrix? But
it was pulled out of cinemas, I think, within a very minimal amount of time. So I think it only maybe had 3 weeks at the maximum run in cinemas. You think it's
because they knew?
I think it was a combination of they were getting so much heat about the Columbine situation, and then the Matrix just wiped everything away, and so it only made 4.2 million in the box office. So there was a loss of 21 million basically on this movie. And to put that into perspective, Scream 2 had a budget of 24 million, so 1 million less, but grossed over 176 million. So, yeah. But the thing is, it wasn't pulled. It had a full run in the cinema, and there was no controversy surrounding it. So it had the money, it had the backing, it had the names, it had the special effects, it had, all the people were in the right places for this to get where it needed to get. But the issue I find with this movie was that I think the studio asked the public's opinion too much, because
it's very noticeable. No, it might be more noticeable now when you go back and watch it, knowing that this is very cut up and pasted with other stuff. There's a lot of reshoots in it. It's the
alternative ending. The new ending is an alternate ending, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's mistakes there's parts of the original ending kept in there as well. It's for all this movie is very special to a lot of people, me included. I hold it in high regard. There is still a lot of like, ew, yeah.
There was some issues with the swimming pool and like a labyrinth wall of hands that was grabbing at them, and then there was a porthole to hell that opened up in the swimming pool. And this was all the original ending. And they screen tested it, and people were like, well, that doesn't go with anything else that's happened in the film. What's this about? You know?
Who the fuck were they asking?
Stoners, I think, because that was their target audience, I'm gathering.
Well, so they probably weren't even watching.
But these people said, oh yeah, we want to see more of Jessica Alba, as in less of Jessica Alba at the same time.
Yeah.
Hence why she was made so naked or very scantily clad through 90% of the film. I think the only time she had the most clothes on was when she was riding the motorcycle past his house, and that was it.
She is adorable, though. She is fucking adorable, and she could have done it with clothes on. Put it that way. She could honestly, she could have, because she's got it all here. She doesn't need to be showing here. Even though I'm not against the whole, women can show as much skin or as less skin as they want to. I'm not, it's not for me to say. I'm happy with anything as long as it's used correctly
and they're comfortable with it themselves.
Yeah, exactly. I would hate to think that she was put in a position that she wasn't comfortable in.
Yeah, I mean, she was also in the run-in. Emily Blunt was originally cast as as Black Widow for Marvel.
Yes, I knew that.
Now Emily Blunt dropped out, and they offered it to Jessica Alba.
Oh,
but Jessica was pregnant at the time, I think, so she couldn't take the role, and Scarlett Johansson got it. So that must be a kicker. If there's, I mean, I'm not saying she regrets having a baby. I'm not saying that, but if there was one part that passed you by, bloody hell, that's the part.
That was a guaranteed paycheck for at least 10, 11. I'm trying to think how many years. She did it for 11 years.
Yeah.
There's a guaranteed paycheck. I am so fucking pleased that Emily Blunt did not get that part. Only because I love Emily Blunt.
I like her, but no.
But she is Sue Storm to me. Like,
really?
If she's going to she's going to play anyone. I want to play Sue Storm. And her husband, John Krasinski, as Reed Richards, which he has already done, and
he's
as Sue Storm.
He's confetti now, though. He's confetti.
That's one universe. We're in the multiverse. Yeah, but it was. I remember when people said Emily Blunt was up for Captain Marvel, and I could have seen it because at the time it was either her or the people were saying Ronda Rousey, and I was like, please.
No,
please don't let Carol be Ronda Rousey. So yeah, I see her as Sue Storm.
I mean, saying that.
So.
Sorry, yeah,
no, I really hope so.
Seeing random parts that miss these actors by. Seth Green was going to originally be recast as Jay in Silent Bob and Jay. Jay had some issues, as we all well know. Jay's never been
massively
someone that hides it, but they were going to rip him off. They were going to rip him off of one of the movies, so they were going to recast him. And Seth Green was up for the part of Jay.
That would have been absolutely no. It's only because we know Jay and Silent Bob very well, and we are like Jay's does a whole podcast about his sobriety and. Yeah. And Kevin wrote a whole fucking book about Jay's past and everything like that. So it's not a secret. No. But the guy used to be able to pull it together for work. Yeah. Totally turned his life around now. He's a dad of 2. Like, he just looks. When you think of happiness and look at Jay's face, it's just there completely. I could not see Seth Green playing Jay.
No, I mean, I don't know who's no. But I found that tidbit out, and I also found out that Devon Sawa was actually ahead of another Canadian actor to play one of the most iconic roles of. I would say it's probably one of the top 5 iconic roles of all time. But he was just picked by Hayden Christensen to play Anakin Skywalker. Devon Sawa was up for the part as well. So Hayden won it. But yeah, that would have been. I can't say it would have been a bad choice.
No, I can't say it would be, because the problem with Hayden Christensen's portrayal of Anakin is the fact it is not his fault. What you got on screen will never be his fault. He was directed and he was provided lines. That dialogue is not his. That direction is not his.
Yeah.
That is just unfortunately what you got from the people behind the scene. I cannot blame Hayden Christensen for that.
No.
And I don't think it would have been any different for Devon either.
No.
He would have had the same direction and the same dialogue and probably the same fucking outcome at the end of it. In a matter of seconds in the Obi-Wan Kenobi program, seconds, just with the right few lines, he won it back like that. And I think Clone Wars, the TV series, helped a lot with that, because it helped to bring a character to Anakin that hadn't been seen properly because of how. But I think Devon would have had the same issue that he did. I really went on a Star Wars one there.
But the two issues with these guys is, I will say, Hayden in real life smells like cigarettes and coffee.
Is that true?
Yes,
I have a thing about smells. Is that really true?
Yeah, I was.
That's all
we
I'm
were
going
at
to think
Rhode
of when I
Island
see
convention, and this is going back, I want to say 2018, 2019, because we went those 2 years. I don't know which one it was, but we were queuing up, and I think I just met Bam Margera at that point, and he was kicking some bloke in the nards.
Did he smell? He just smell of shame and regret?
No, he smelled like Lynx Africa.
Really?
You know, like that kind of like
manly perfumey smell.
Yeah.
That's all I can think of when I think of Lynx Africa.
So then we went in to queue up for Hayden afterwards, and he just smelled like he'd chain smoked for about an hour. And then you could smell coffee as well. So it was just like, wow, that was, and I'm not saying it was a bad smell.
No, I get you.
But
I have such a thing on smell when it comes to people. Like, in my head, Johnny Depp fucking stinks because he smokes licorice. He smokes licorice cigarettes.
Oh no!
So, and I remember when Anth used to smoke them, and they're disgusting. The smell is awful, and that's all I can think of. Every time I see him, I just go, "You fucking stink!" I know you do. Yeah. So now all I'm going to think of when I see Hayden Christensen is, yeah, mate, you smell too. And someone told us that Paul Bettany smells like heaven.
Really?
He just has this beautiful aroma of like nice scent around him. And I was like, that's all I can think of when I see Vision is, you smell nice.
Alan Tudyk smelled really nice. I will say that I had that sort of similar thing. I mean, this is a weird conversation. I'm going to step away from the smelling of people now, but you know.
I have this one with my best friend all the time, because she hates the fact that I've put it in her head that Johnny Depp stinks. So she was like, well, Jason Momoa looks like he fucking reeks. And I'm like, he probably does.
To me, he looks like he smells like days old Guinness, because that's what he drinks. So I feel like it would sweat out of his pores, and that's what he smells like.
So yeah, people smells. What a tangent to go on to, people smells.
Well, I was going to say that the connection between Devon and Hayden is that they both did films that technically reignited or ignited their careers and then killed them simultaneously, because Devon did one of the worst films I've ever had the misfortune to watch. And I think I might have talked about this before. It was called The Fanatic, and it was with John Travolta.
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
Yes,
and it was Devon Sawa. And it was Fred Durst's directorial debut. I mean, therein should have told you the clue of the quality of the movie. I didn't learn my lesson there. No.
Did you know he directed it before you watched it?
It was one of those things where, you know, when you've heard it, someone mentioned it, but you thought,
more fool you if you knew that Fred Durst directed that.
No, I think I took it with a pinch of salt, because I thought they were winding me up, because I was just like, Fred Durst directing a film with John Travolta in? Never. No.
You're having me on.
And it started and it came up directed by Fred Durst, and I went, oh. and it's
And
just
that's what
like,
killed his career.
well, it was the first movie he'd been in for a while. And it was billed as his comeback.
Yeah.
I know he'd been in TV. He'd gone off and done TV, so that was where he was living, in TV land at that point. But his comeback to movies was to do The Fanatic with John Travolta, and the lines from Tropic Thunder, where he says "You never go full," when Robert Downey Jr. is giving Ben Stiller's character the whole speech about "You never go full."
Yeah, I fucking love that.
John went full. He went, we're talking full on Ben Stiller mode in this, and
what is it? Happy Jack, mum, make me happy.
he plays an obsessed fan with some sort of learning difficulty, John Travolta, and I don't think he's ever spent any time with anybody with any kind of learning disability in his life, because
he did. His fucking son.
Not well, if this is how he perceives his son, then I'm very concerned.
Wow.
This is not method acting. This is honestly, it's one of those films that is so bad. I need other people to go and watch it to make sure that I actually going to have to imagine it.
One, just to make sure it's real, and two, because sometimes the mind can play tricks.
Yeah.
I actually caught myself in a moment of sheer tiredness on Saturday when I got back from the wedding. I watched Grease.
I don't mind that film.
Out of choice as well. I watched it.
And there was one.
Say,
I was Sandy in the school production of Grease.
I have never done Grease in all of my musical theatre years. I have never done Grease. Fucking Joseph, plenty of times. Jesus Christ, man, find a fucking new musical.
Joseph,
but there was one thing that we are the podcast of tangents, so I'm going to go off on one. One thing I noticed in there, Jan, Pink Lady Jan.
Yeah,
she is the fat friend.
Yes, she is. Yeah,
and they talk about her diet and her eating too much, and I'm like, what the fuck? Hang on a minute, what? She's fucking fine. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with her.
It's very of the time. Very of the time.
But then I was just like, where the fuck have I been? Like, how many times have I seen Grease? And this is the first time I'm picking up on that.
I think it's one of those things, isn't it? Like, I didn't even know that the cast of Grease were just at Edinburgh with me.
Yeah, they were. Did you miss them?
Dee Con and Jan and
all
the
T-Birds who are still alive apart from John Travolta.
He's not still alive. He's just a walking corpse.
Oosh.
It's that Scientology, isn't it?
keeps them young and fresh forever in their Tupperware.
God.
Yeah, they're at Edinburgh Comic. They've been in a few actually.
Yeah, I just had no idea, and Grease was such a big part of my life growing up. You know, because I never was the popular kid. I was never the kid that got, I wasn't, because I was weird.
Wow.
I just was. And
I mean, you're sitting there with behind you, and there's a hand. So.
And a gremlin.
And a gremlin with a shield, which I've just noticed, by the way.
Well, this is actually it's a backpack that was made as a limited edition for World of Warcraft. And they are like rocking horse shit, these bags, because Rob's mum found him one, and it's like he wants it out to be able to display it, but he doesn't ever want to use it. I'm like,
I get you. So the gremlin is watching
He's guarding it, yeah. But yeah, I mean, Grease was such a huge thing and a huge part of my life growing up, and it was the first thing that I ever got accepted to be the main role in, and suddenly people paid attention to me, and I didn't quite like it enough, but it was one of those things where I realized that this is what I wanted to do. I was good at performing arts, I was good at singing, I was good at dancing, I was good at all that stuff, like memorizing lines, and so it then became what I wanted to do, and I moved on. I did at college, I did all the performing arts, and then I went on and did my A-levels and performing arts, and then I went on to Butlins and became a redcoat, and then I realized, oh shit, I've actually got to get a real job now and do real things like real humans to pay real bills. So,
I did that when my dad went, right, it's time to ship up and shape out. You've got to start going on auditions. You've done all these workshops. You've done all these stuff. You need to now start going on auditions. I went, fuck that, and I got a job.
Yeah, I got a job and started doing auditions, and then realised that I just couldn't take the amount of rejection.
It's not the rejection, it's the stage fright. It's the actual ability to be able to, like, I will belt a song out in my house and think, fuck all of it, that if anyone can hear us, I don't care.
Yeah.
But if you come face to face with me and I have to do it, absolutely not. That is not happening. Even now, even at 40, I still get major anxiety and stage fright over the idea of, even when I'm singing in the car with Anth, I have to put a voice on or something, or like sing it in a funny way, just so I'm not really actually singing it properly.
I hadn't sung for years. I used to have my own shows at Butlins, and was doing like 2,000 plus capacity in the bigger venues, like, and I never used to think anything of it. 3 times a week, 4 times a week, I was doing shows on the stage. It was just something that I never really thought about. And then obviously life goes on, and the first time I sung in public again was for Leslie and Dave's. They had like a party for their wedding anniversary, and like I said, I think I mentioned it before, and there were some terms and stuff, and I had to sing, and it was just one of those things where I realised how much I missed doing it the minute I started. But I got the worst stage fright I'd ever had in my entire life. I couldn't give a shit. I didn't know any of these people, except for Leslie and Dave, and probably a small handful of them. But then Dave and Leslie told me afterwards that Brian Johnson from AC/DC's daughter was sat at the back. And I went, excuse me, now what?
Well,
I'm saying now what?
His mum and dad just lived down the road. No, I'm not joking. Like, literally, come out of my house, walk a few steps, and his mum and dad lived there. This is where he grew up.
Yeah. So it was just like, thanks, I think. I don't really know. That's okay.
I don't think he grew up here. I think his mum and dad just moved here, but they still lived over the road from my grandparents. Anyways, we're going to wrap up the Idle Hands. It has just been like a ditty. We just needed something easy breezy, cover girl to do after Jason, because Jason was a big one.
I mean, Jason was, what did we say the kill count was on Jason? 148, I think it was, wasn't it? So yeah, when you look at the kill count, this one doesn't even...
Oh, it doesn't even match up.
It doesn't even make it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
16. The kill count in this movie
is 16.
The school.
And the people outside. 16. It still has a number, so it still sits within our kill count. Kill count of... What is it? Number. That's what I was thinking of. I had like a circle in my head, and I'm like, what do you call one of those?
One of those. Yes, that's what we call it.
Yeah, so it still has a number. It's still sitting there. Something keeps catching the corner of my eye over here, and I've just realised what it is. I've moved Darth Maul from the other side to this side, and the light keeps hitting off the corner of it, keeps bouncing into my eye. It's just done it again. It's really doing me tits in.
You're gonna have to move him now.
I'm gonna have to, because I feel really bad. Sabrina is like sitting on her own over there in the corner. And I can't put her up above with the rest of them because I literally have no room. She would be floating in midair. So I'm gonna have to move Sabrina. Have you got anything more before we end tonight?
Not really. I mean, I will say I do love this film. Everything about this film,
how can you not,
is probably it's a comedy horror, not a horror comedy. It's got a cast of the time. They all played their parts really well. The music is fantastic. It was one of those movies that's now been reclaimed as a cult movie. It will always be that stupid possession film about a hand that went rogue, you know.
Just to talk about our conversation earlier, when I mentioned the whole possession movies has religion in it, so did this one. In a way. It's a very different possession movie to what I tend to like. But it's still a possession movie.
It is. And the monster is, if you think it's the devil that possesses his hand, then that's cool. But if you think it's a demon, or it's just laziness manifested itself into being a shitbag, I don't really know. But all I know is Vivica was so intent on wanting to kill him until he brought up his stumpy lump of ham and showed him showed her his stumpy lumpy.
He might as well have given her the finger with his stump. Like, fuck you, look, it's gone. And I thought that was genius, by the way. Like, absolute genius.
when they were having the Barney about cutting his hand off, I thought that was great. When it's like his hand was moving and then
they're trying to cut him with a bagel cutter.
He went, that thing doesn't even cut bagels.
I tell you what, mind, for a movie, like, we're talking about the soundtrack, we talk about the actors, the cameos, it's all great. The food in this movie is fantastic.
And I will quickly mention, because I haven't, Eldon Henson, can we just talk about him for 10 seconds, playing one of my favourite characters in one of my favourite movies from when I was a kid, which is Fulton Reed in Mighty Ducks. Thank you, good night.
Oh.
I bloody love the Mighty Ducks. The ice hockey movie. Fulton was the one that hit the puck so hard that smashed the windows. You've never seen the Mighty Ducks, I can tell by your face. Bets on what film Sammy's not seen.
Nope, never seen it. But he is Foggy Nelson in Daredevil.
He is, yeah. But like for me, Fulton Reed, he was not long off of my age as well. So I think, you know, they're all around the ballpark of my age as well. So I think this is why I find it weird, because Devon Sawa was only a year older than me. So
oh my God. That means he's only a couple of years older than me.
Yeah, he's 44. He's 44. And I was just like, Dada too, 44. That's where we are now. Okay, accept this now.
Yep, accept this life now.
Yes.
Right, well, that was our little ditty of idle hands. I hope you've learned a lot tonight, because we've been on so many tangents.
I don't know what you've learned, but good for you if you have.
Hey, it's all about getting to know us. So there you go, getting to know you. What's next week? We don't know.
Honestly,
we really don't.
We have planned, but
plans
are just not.
The plans are not coming to fruition, and we're having to go on. We do have an idea in our head, so it's not a case of like, surprise, we're doing this one tonight. Yeah. But we don't know what's going to go out to you guys.
Yeah,
I just don't.
No.
I will probably know more when this airs. Will I know more? I actually won't. I will not know more.
Well. Yeah.
I will know the following day what is going to happen.
The day after this airs, yeah.
The day after this airs, I will know what's going to happen. But for now, it's just one big surprise. Yeah. Get on the train. We're on the easy train here.
Yeah. Cool, easy breezy train.
Easy breezy cover girl. That's what we're doing.
Just need some exploding geese for Graham now, don't we? You know.
Yeah, that would be the icebreaker, wouldn't it? Like honk, like a lot of geese. Yeah. So we don't know. That's the short answer. We generally don't know at this point, but I will keep you all informed. Obviously, we've got the Facebook group, we've got the Twitter page, we've got the Instagram page, we've got the TikToks. We both have pages of our own. Bleeding Marvelous, Nerdy Up North. We are also on iTunes and Spotify.
Yes.
And we have some great numbers in there. Thank you to everyone who has taken the time to listen to us through Spotify and iTunes. If you haven't already, please go and give us a heart. Is it a heart? Heart. And there is also a box there where you can ask a question or leave a comment. Yes. By all means, ask a question, leave a comment. You know, is there any other celebrities I think smell? Ask away. I'll tell you. We're also on YouTube every Monday. We are back to normal again, given that we did take over Star Trek on Friday.
Whoopsie.
Well, Friday the 13th. Can't
not. Sorry.
Can't not.
It's law.
It is. Can you fuck for next year, though, if we if there's another one? We're like, oh, we've done Jason. Who now?
Jason's brother, John.
John
the lesser known Voorhees. Yeah.
Josh.
It
was Josh. It was Josh Voorhees. Yeah.
Good
and you
God.
You can catch all of our back catalogue on YouTube. It is also available on the nerdyupnorth.com website as well, all of our back catalogue, and also on iTunes and Spotify. I think that's covered everything.
Yeah, we're big in Bromley.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Bromley.
Thanks, Ken.
Really, really appreciate it. So yeah. Thanks everyone for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you next week. Stay nerdy, everyone. Bye.